Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video.
Recording. All right, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about uh, episode 2 of The Last of Us. Just getting into our thoughts, but we wanted to kind of hold off because we wanted everybody to have seen it. And so now that schedules have aligned, we got some things that we got to say about it. And I just want everybody to kind of be, to brace yourselves. Everybody has different opinions on this, and not all of those opinions are the opinions that you hear everywhere else. I'm gonna be real with you. Not everybody is just completely in love with this show as like the bestest show ever. Like, don't. So if that's what you came here for, no, just you might want to keep it moving. Like, and I don't really want to discourage anybody from listening to what we got to say. But like I say, some of us that's on this particular episode, we really loved it. Some of us thought it was all right, and some of us had some other thoughts on it. So, we're gonna get to it. So, what is this? This is episode 2, Infected. All right, so I'm gonna start it off. So this episode picks up where episode 1 kind of left off, in which everybody's kind of discussing the events that happened previously. Trying to figure out whether or not Ellie is not really telling the truth about her being possibly immune, and so they're basically going back and forth about the whole thing about how she met Marlene and everything like that. And to be fair, I mean the dialogue was straight. I feel like Bella Ramsey's. I feel like she kind of crams too many four-letter words in her dialogue per line. I feel like they could probably space that out a little bit. But I mean, everything else was good. What y'all thought about that?
Um, Ellie cusses like all the time in the game. So, I mean,
I
you
think
know,
because there is game there to spread it out.
maybe, but this is a
You know what I
show
mean?
though.
Like in the show, it's like, okay, we heard you. Like, we get it. You know how to use curse words. You know what I mean? But like,
Okay, and there's the fact that she was in a some sort of military school.
oh, you mean the federal
So,
school, which
yeah,
is
so I mean
also
like
mhm.
right, not in the game. I know that, but what I'm saying is that they're trying to make her like this, I don't know. It's jarring for me because I have kids. So I mean, I don't particularly love it, but she cusses in the game too, so I can't really be mad at that. Um, you know, and I don't know. I just mm, that's kind of for me. It's nitpicking, I guess.
What about you, Drew? What you thought about it?
Oh, I don't really have an opinion on it. You talking about her cursing?
Not just
What's
that. I mean, just like that part of the episode, like them going back and forth about whether or not she's immune and what they got to do, where they got to take her.
uh I don't know. I guess it was all right to me. I didn't really mind it. That didn't bother me. Oh, it was kind of it was a little bit it was almost a little bit goofy to me kind of watching it though. Now I'm thinking about it like she asleep, she wake up, she look over, she kind of get scared. They just sitting there wide awake. I'm like, you already know she ain't turned into a zombie. I mean, you've seen this, the bite is healed up in the last episode, and like she right there and she's still normal. I don't know. Sometimes little stuff like that do make me go, you ain't have to do that, but whatever. I guess I understand.
They were
But
extra creepy,
but
but
the cursing thing, I don't mind, but I do understand what you're saying. If they had a cursing a whole lot, because like you said in the game, it'll be spaced out because you got a long game. You walking around, the characters say random stuff, but on the show they probably just got to blurting out random curse words. I'm a kid. I'm cool. Look at me. I'm bad. Type of thing. But it
All
don't
right.
bother me either way.
Now that makes
yeah.
sense.
Um, I don't know. As far as the you're infected scene, uh, I don't know. It Joel is usually a very cautious person to begin with. Um, and to be fair, he's never seen anything like that before. So, being extra
And,
cautious is kind of Joel's thing.
yeah, and that does
Which
happen in
is
the game. He's very, very wary of whether or not she's just going to turn at any moment.
right. Just, maybe she has this prolonged, turning period or something. But the point is that's the thing about Joel is that from game 1 to game 2, that's why I felt like it didn't make sense. Because the whole game he is extremely
All right.
pessimistic.
So
Everything can
before
go
you get
left.
going, hold on before we start talking about game 2, and we are going to talk about that. But for the audience, y'all need to know I am playing this game, and you should be able to see the B-roll. If you're watching the video version of this, you should be able to see me playing the game while we're talking about this. And that was just so I could really be kind of hands-on with the differences of what was going on the screen as opposed to what's going on in the game. So just be aware of that. So when I say something, I know it for a fact, and you'll probably be able to see it playing out as we're talking about it. But so I mean that's happening, and they're obviously trying to get to the Capitol building. And so, like I say, so let me preface this. I enjoyed this episode, but I had some issues with it. So that being said, so here's some things, and this is like I say, just from the difference between the game and the difference between the show. And the reason I'm bringing this up mainly is because if you played the game, and I'm sure most of our audience has played the game, so I'm not even worried about y'all like that.
You're breaking up a little.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Am I still breaking up?
No, it's like I don't know if you're moving or something on your mic, but it's breaking up a little when
No, I
you're
got the
moving.
mic right in front of me. It's on my
Okay.
little stand or whatever.
All
Can you
right.
hear me, Drew?
Yeah, no,
You
it's good
sound
now.
fine to me.
All right. I'm probably gonna cut this
Sorry.
part out anyway, so it don't matter. All right. So what I was saying was that in the show, because they have removed parts of the backstory and they're putting in filler. So one of the filler parts, of course, is the flashbacks to the scientist. Where was she at? Was she in Indonesia? I think. Was that it?
No, it was that other. Didn't it start with a J? Did it start with a J?
It wasn't. Was it Indonesia or was it Sri Lanka?
I don't think it was Sri Lanka either. I swear it started with a J because I remember. I don't know.
It wasn't the Philippines.
I can look it up, but
Jakarta? Because
yeah, it was something like that.
Jakarta is in Indonesia. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't even bother to answer that one because I don't know. I was like, I don't know. Sorry.
Come on now.
I know I'm bad at it. It's not.
So we're seeing this scientist in Jakarta, and they're taught. She's basically like just bombed the whole thing. Like after she looks over the corpse that is infected, and she has ascertained how it's spreading back and forth to these basically tendril like worms, and this is where my problem started with this whole thing, because going into this show I knew that that Druckman and his showrunner Craig Mazin had basically taken out the spores, and that being one path to infection. Because in the game there are basically two ways that you get infected. Number one is that you get bit by by somebody that is infected. Number two is that once an individual has been infected for a period of time, let's say longer than a year, they start to produce these spores, and they start to become less and less mobile the more years that they've been infected, and they go into really dark areas because sunlight hurts them. The reason sunlight hurts them is because the cordyceps past a certain temperature can't survive. So in order to replicate the virus, they create spores in very damp, dark places. And so whenever in the game, whenever you go into a damp, dark place, a sewer or underground or just a abandoned building that has maybe basement levels to it, when that happens, you have to put on a gas mask because the spores are everywhere. Now, the reason I believe, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but I can't confirm it. The reason I believe that they ended up going with this stupid worm nonsense, this tendril crap, is because of Pedro Pascal and his experience on The Mandalorian, having to basically wear a mask through. I'd wager maybe about 70% of the production he had to keep the mask on, and that's the character. He knew that signing on, and I think that has soured his perception of ever wearing any type of face covering when it comes to uh, any type of role that he's taking. And so I feel like that was just a stipulation of his, like no masks. And because of that, I think that they had no choice if they wanted to keep that actor to change things. But them changing things either on purpose or inadvertently, they have copied another property that is very similar. And we've talked about this, but they have copied FX's The Strain. And if you've ever watched The Strain, The Strain is not about zombies, but the way that the creatures in The Strain operate is very similar to zombies, because the lower forms of these creatures, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen The Strain, but the lower form of these creatures, the virus is passed all the same through these little worms. And some of these shots are very, very reminiscent of The Strain. And it really is disheartening because of how original the lore for The Last of Us is. And because of this change in the lore, which seems kind of small when you, if you don't think about it, has really kind of turned this into a very generic type of fiction, because now we already have something that came out years prior that is very similar to this. And then we have The Walking Dead on top of that. And The Last of Us could, in my opinion, could have been something better than all of these things. And now it's kind of where it is. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, in The Strain, they had a hive mind as well. So that's kind of what was like, oh wow, okay. And then the way that things are transferred, I don't remember, it's been a while since the game for me, but I don't remember how, besides the spores, is there another way of transmission?
Just getting bit.
That's it?
Yeah.
See, yeah, I know that they're like very tree-like when they turn, but after a while, but I don't know. I think they mixed a lot of different things.
Well, I was gonna say back to what you were saying about reason why you think they're not wearing a mask. You right about the guy playing Joel. I'm bad with names, but the guy who's playing Joel, I'm pretty sure it do got something to do with Mandalorian, where he had to wear a mask on there all the time. But he seemed to find a way to do at least one episode each season where he can get that mask off for a second. But I heard the other guy who's writing the show with Neil was talking about how he was on his show. What was that other show he did?
Chernobyl?
Chernobyl. And they'd have masks on. He came out and was talking about how it's hard when actors are wearing masks, that for them to show their emotion and all this. So that's one of the reasons why they also keeping the mask off. But I miss the spores. The spores do make it original. The spores are cool. I'd had an argument with friends before talking about this cordyceps stuff is better and it makes it more real life. And I told them, we already watching zombies. This ain't real life. So I don't care. I don't need it to be real life. The spores made it better. It made it more intense when you're playing a game, because imagine in real life, you got a mask on, you in the sewers or wherever it is, and the spores are around. You had the fear of maybe breaking your mask. You fighting other humans who got on masks. Like I say, they can rip your mask off. That's a way for them to take you out. Or like I say, a zombie might rip your mask off, and you might get away from the zombie, but you breathed in the spores already, so now you got it. Like, it just made it more intense. And then, like you said, it made it more original. And that cordyceps crap I don't like it, or whatever they call it. I don't like them little tendrils and shit coming out. It bothers me a whole lot because I hate hive mind stuff. And if we think about any movie or TV show, for the most part, Any one of them that have hive minds is mostly trash. There's only a few shows or movies where it actually. I really can't think of them other than the Strain. That's one of the best ones I've seen. I can't even think of anything else that did the hive mind right. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. See, and that's what I meant by, we were kind of on the same page as far as that's concerned. Like I say, it not being just random as to how they operate makes it kind of takes away in a way of, from the situation. And it's kind of seen later on in the episode as to how this differs greatly from the game. Because whether we're talking about them getting to the Capitol or whatnot, or we're talking about the scenery. And something I have to comment on is the inconsistent CGI. I get it. I understand. I get that, that a lot of the best animators have left the industry or are holding out for more money, and I understand. But and the CGI, don't get me wrong. It's not like She-Hulk bad. It's nowhere near that. But it does definitely drop in quality in places, and it kind of takes you out of the experience if you're looking at that kind of thing. Now, go ahead.
I have a question. So if I'm not wrong, the masks are only if you are in a dark, damp place.
Correct.
It's not if you're on the main street or outside at all.
They
You
can't
only have
exist
to
outside.
wear them. Huh?
The spores, they cannot exist and proliferate in sunlight or in any open area like that.
So it makes no sense that they don't wear masks inside, because if that's the case, then the inside scenes are so few and far between that they're irrelevant.
me and Jacob was speaking about this the other day. I said at the most you probably have 10 minutes where they might have a mask on in an episode.
Right, and they would be action scenes.
Right, and they're like, because even when they put her where she got bit or whatever, and they put her in that building, that building still had like sunlight, and so it wouldn't be in there. It'd have to be in a damp, warm, underground type space, which they're never in, almost ever.
Right,
so
and that kind of takes away, and that was something I was going to talk about, but that takes away from a lot of story parts that where Ellie is able to demonstrate that she is not affected by the
There's some big stuff, but it's spoiler stuff where it happened, because I wanted to tell some people about it too, but I was like, I can't even talk to you about this because you haven't played part 2, or you ain't even played part 1, so I can't even explain to you why it's some cool spore scenes,
right?
And I want to know what the hell they gonna do with these things, man. These little tentacles. What are they called?
Tendrils.
Tendrils?
Yes.
No, what's the other name? Cordyceps? Is that what it is?
No, cordyceps is is basically the fungus that gets into the brain.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I hate it when that zombie. I think they killed a zombie, and those things came out of the ground and started touching on somebody's hand. And all the zombies' heads turned, and they just started hauling ass toward. I was like, I do not like this, because I was imagining, like I said, imagine every time you fight a zombie, you kill it, and those tentacles should just be coming out of the ground, and humans definitely shouldn't be alive no more. Like, they'll always know where you at. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I think they messed that up. I don't like it.
But that's cool, because like Ellie would have been able to be the only one without a mask throughout the whole season, because she doesn't need one.
Well, and that's another thing. So
that's would have been cool.
Right. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because in this episode, it kind of ends where oh, okay. We good. So it ends, this episode ends where basically when they die, or when Tess dies. And so Tess's death is completely different in the game. She's not killed by infected. She is killed by Fedra. And there's a reason for this. where they are at the Capitol, it's full of sunlight. So the only way that the infected were even able to swarm upon the Capitol was because of of her touching one of the tendrils that just so happened to be connected to the rest of whatever. Anyway,
It was
so
really far too.
right. So they run up on her and and that whole stupid scene happens, which also takes away from her really being awesome, because in that scene in the game you don't actually see her die, but you can hear it as you're running away as Joel and Ellie, and you hear her fighting them, and then you find out how many she killed based on the guy's radio chatter and everything like that. So it kind of takes away from her badass moments. And the one time that it's really one of the very, times that it's appropriate for a female to be as badass as she possibly can be, they kind of just stole it from her. And I felt like that was really messed up. And this is also a scene where after, when they're getting away from Fedra, they're going through some sewers. And in the game, Ellie breathes in, a lung full of spores, and she's like, "Oh, I don't need that mask. We good," which further proves to Joel that she is in fact immune. So that was disappointing.
Yeah, so it made her not special. Something that made it not special on the show. But can I say one more thing real quick about the spores?
Oh, go for it, bro.
The bloaters. How are bloaters supposed to work now if we ain't doing spores? Are they still going to explode and have that mist of, because they can,
they explode tendrils now.
Maybe if they do that, I swear, Strand. I'm gonna say what's his name? Del Toro. Del Toro need to go. What was his name? Is what's his name?
Guillermo del
Toro.
Yeah, he need to go on and sue them. If them things
it's gonna get in your skin and
tendrils go into people's skin and stuff and take over, I swear. Well,
right, because it's just a straight rip at that point. And that's another thing that I was going to talk about. So when she gets infected, that also didn't work, because there was like only, how many clickers were there when they're fighting them? Maybe 2 in that scene?
3.
Yeah, maybe 2, maybe 3. I know it was 2 at least.
So in that scene in the game, how she gets infected is her and Ellie get separated from Joel, because the building that they're in starts to crumble, and it creates a barrier between them. And Joel has to figure out a way around while Tess and Ellie are, trying to basically survive long enough for Joel to get there. And that's how she gets infected. And they just retarded, especially considering the fact that, Ellie's like, "How many of them have you killed?" And he's like, "Oh, they killed a bunch." You could have fooled me, bro, because y'all looking crazy as hell in that scene. Like, y'all ain't
they look like that's the first time running into a zombie.
Right. Like, they was just looking crazy. Them clickers
they should have been playing some Benny Hill. Was it Benny Hill music in the back?
Bruh. And then why did the shots need to be so precise? These aren't zombies. You can shoot them in any vital area and they will stop coming. You shoot them in the heart, they're going to go down. But in this, they felt it almost made it seem like a headshot was the only way for it to go down.
Well, that doesn't. I mean, in the game, it doesn't make sense, because technically their brain is what's being taken over by the spores. The rest of the body is just there to propel them forward. That's about it. The body is still the body.
And that's what I mean. Like, the blood is still pumping, the heart is still working. So shooting them in the heart puts them down just like anything else. So it doesn't make sense that in the show, like, it seemed like they had to have a headshot in order to put them down.
Right.
Maybe there's something else they changed then.
And as far as Joel being a veteran, he does miss a lot. He got stormtrooper aim. I swear to God.
He got stormtrooper aim.
I swear to God,
he's got used to wearing that helmet, that Mandalorian.
He used to be a Mandalorian. Now he's a stormtrooper.
It's awful. I'm just trying to figure out, like, why are you missing this hard? Bullets are really limited in this world. What are you doing?
I remember how limited bullets were. You just doing whatever.
It really reminded me of Black Summer. Remember when Black Summer season 1, when they first ran into the zombies for the first time, and there was people trying to kill them at the restaurant. They couldn't kill that one zombie. That's how it looked for real.
Shooting everything but the zombie.
Oh yeah. It was really rough.
Not to mention, Joel doesn't have just a gun. He has that big old crowbar or wrench or whatever it is that he usually has. Beats them over the head with it.
Right. You know, whatever you pick up in the game.
Right.
But yeah, guys. So I mean, those were our thoughts. So let's wrap it up. Let's give final thoughts on this. Me, like I say, I like the episode and I like the show, even though this is really just countdown to the great disappointment known as Abby. But you know, I'm enjoying this season so far, and we know that the second season is going to be, according to Neil Druckman, is going to be an adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. So you know, just be prepared. If you know anything about the games, be prepared for Countdown to Abby, the Great Disappointment.
I loved episode 1 and 2. I just didn't like the tendrils or whatever the hell they called. That's the only thing I didn't like. That I can think of right now. Anything else is like small stuff. And I like Abby, so I'll be waiting for Abby to come. So there we go.
Big Beefy. You and Big Beefy.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that I'm gonna really like the first season and hate the second season. Because as much as you like Abby, I hate her. I hate her so much. Yeah, because I love Joel and I love Ellie, and I feel like she has no real place in that world for me. Like not the way the game portrayed her anyway. So I don't know. She made no sense in the game. Like none. Like where'd you get them hormones, girl? How you get that damn big? Ain't not enough food in the world to feed that.
She's hungry.
Always.
All that, I don't know where she must have found the last. She found the last stockpile of creatine left in the world and just like downed all that. That's really what happened.
She took lots and lots of hormones.
I'm not going to participate in none of this bad Abby talk. Y'all two can do that.
You know, you said put some respect on Abby's name?
Yeah, put some respect on it.
All right, man. Well, that'll be it for us today, guys. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.
If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.